where are we now? 85,000 cases a day now. We've set a record almost every day this week. 85,000 coronavirus infections on Sunday. I don't know if today we will actually beat that record, but Sunday's record beat Saturday's record. Saturday's record beat Friday's record. Friday's record beat Thursday's record, and so on and so on. And
number one, baby.
Now, of course, what is driving this. Is it the cold weather? Is it the lack of contact tracing? Is it that the White House has admitted over the past 2 days, we're not interested in controlling the rate of infection. We're just not in that business anymore. We're done with that. Is it those things? Or
I'm going to go with freedom and liberty.
Or is it freedom or liberty? Or is it, are people getting paid to say that the infections are going up? Here's Donald Trump with that theory.
You know, some countries, they report differently. If somebody's sick with a heart problem and they die of COVID, they say they died of a heart problem. If somebody's terminally ill with cancer and they have COVID, we report them. And, you know, doctors get more money and hospitals get more money. Think of this incentive. So some countries do it differently. If somebody is very sick with a bad heart, they die of COVID, they don't get reported as COVID. So then you wonder, gee, I wonder why their cases are so low. This country and their reporting systems are really not doing it right. If somebody has a really bad heart and they're close to death, even if they're not, but they have a very bad heart and they get COVID, they put it down to COVID. Other countries put it down to a heart. So we have to be, we're going to start looking at things because, you know, they have things a little bit backwards. They have things a little bit backwards. Joe Biden has made.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we going to start looking at things? Are we going to start looking at things now? Now that we're 8 months into this, we're going to start looking into things. Now, you know how we know that other countries are not counting COVID if someone has COVID and they die of a heart attack? You know how we know that? Because they're counting COVID. Otherwise, we wouldn't know that person had COVID. Is he saying that like, oh, we're not really having this many deaths? We're counting all sorts of deaths as COVID deaths. The people have COVID and they're dying of, they barely know they have COVID. They barely know they have COVID. They're dying of something else. All these other deaths. I mean, contemplate the idea of just the psychosis involved in suggesting, well, first off, if you think that our medical system is somehow incentivized to say monetarily that people are dying of COVID, what is it about our system that does that? Now, honestly, I don't even know, where is the huge amount of COVID benefit that gets to hospitals? Where is that? When you have the highest rate of death of COVID of a hospital, how is it that you get more money? You get more COVID relief funds? Is that it? It's not based on infections? Because obviously these other countries are counting infections, or you wouldn't know that they had two things wrong with them. It's almost like if there was a mandate from that we could impose on politicians, regardless of whether they're in elected office or non-elected office, that whenever they go out to give a speech, there has to be an ASL sign interpreter or something like that, or maybe just someone who holds up cue cards, who just says I want everybody to think about this for a moment. What he's saying doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's not just a lie. It's just 2 + 2 = 5 is a lie. But it's also very obvious that it's a lie. And then it's also just sort of repulsive that he would say at this point, where you have so many people in the medical profession who have died of this because they have exposed themselves in the course of doing their job to help other people, that this is just a function of them getting more money. But if hospitals are somehow getting more money, maybe we really should look at the structure of the hospitals and how much they're paid.
Yeah, I was going to say, Like, what does he think that the hospitals want this money for? Even in his formulation, where hospitals with more COVID deaths do get more money, does he think it's just going into the pockets of the administrators?
I mean,
Like
The doctors.
I mean, the doctors,
why are
the
hospitals
doctors
begging
get the
for
benefit.
money in the first place?
The doctors get more money. I mean, look, we have had a consolidation in the hospital industry, as it were. And a lot of this consolidation is by major corporations that do what all major corporations do, is they try and increase their profits by cutting staff, by cutting services, by jacking up prices on people. And it's exploitation of their workers. And it's a diminishment of services for people who have less money. There's no doubt that's going on. COVID is not the driver of this. It is that we have a messed up system that allows for this stuff.
It's what I've been saying. You got to get the profit motive out of healthcare, folks.
Exactly.
They've gamified the system, folks. They've just
Totally
gamed it out.
gamified it. I mean, it's
Also,
and it's also just like the idea that a hospital gets more, more money the more COVID deaths they have is just absurd. It is founded on nothing. The point is, you want the money before the COVID deaths come, anyways, right? Because that's like how you prevent the deaths on some level, because you're not like having a crushing wave of people come in. But it's just, man. I mean, I don't know.
well, Mark Meadows told us earlier that we should not try to control the number of deaths from COVID. So I don't see what the big deal is.
Well, Meadows probably got a lot of money invested secretly in those doctors who are inflating their COVID things.
Yeah, we're just following the Hippocratic Oath, folks. First, do no harm. So we're just going to make sure we don't do anything bad to the economy.